Welcome to the new season of FineScale Modeler Weekly.
Indeed, we have a packed show for you, but before we get to Tim and his tools, we've got lots of new kits to show you.
Including the first injection molded 1/350th scale USS Midway, thanks to Trumpeter.
The hull of the nearly 3-foot long model is a single part that mates perfectly with the hangar deck. This kit represents Midway as it was commissioned immediately after World War II with the original straight flight deck. Both the fore and aft elevators, as well as the one on the port deck edge, are separate.
Numerous inserts featuring molded details, fixtures, and doors separate the hangar and flight decks. Typical of carriers of the World War II era, anti-aircraft guns surround the ship in decks and tubs with fine splinter shields, including 18 5-inch turrets, 21 quad 40 units, and 28 twin 20mm mounts.
The core of the island is a single part centered around the funnel, to which various decks are added, and the masts. The air wing comprises 6 F4U Corsairs and 6 SB2C Helldivers with the option to fold the wings on all of them.
In addition to railings, the kit's photo-etched metal frets supply antennas and gun shields, optional radar dishes, braces and walkways, ladders and stairs.
The decals provide deck and island numbers, flags and naval jacks, deck stripes, and aircraft insignia.
This is a big model of an important ship that seems to have good detail and nice engineering. If the fit of the hangar deck to the hull is any indication, it should be a trouble-free build.
Chevy took its classic sports car in an entirely different direction with its 2020 year model.
Yeah, the traditional front-engine Corvette became a mid-engine vehicle with supercar styling.
Now, Revell is first to market with an injection-molded plastic kit of a 1/25th scale 2022 Corvette Stingray Z-51.
Molded with the front trunk closed, but the engine cover and rear trunk separate, the body nails the shapes of the C8. In addition to the rear cover, the removable roof and the rear clip are separate.
The suspension's lower A-arms are molded with the underside plate and the wheel wells separate. The brakes, shocks, and other parts get sandwiched by upper arms and connect to the wheels and unbranded low-profile tires.
The LT2 engine is well represented from 26 parts, including block and transmission halves, heads, belts and sump, exhausts, an intake manifold and air cleaner.
The interior pan gets bucket seats and optional left or right-hand drive dashes, and center consoles, inner door panels, and overhead panel with visors. Vent inserts, spoilers, and light bezels finish the body.
Those are filled with clear lenses. Most of the windows are separate and go in from outside. The decals include a choice of instrument cluster and infotainment screens, interior and exterior trim and badging, optional body stripes in black and white, as well as license plates for Kentucky, Ontario, Japan, the UK, and Victoria, Australia.
This is a great-looking kit of a modern car, and it's very cool that Revell has the options for steering.
Horizon Models continues to expand its offerings based on its 1/72nd scale Atlas rocket.
The latest is the Atlas-Agena, a rocket system used for numerous launches in the 1960s and 1970s.
A notable series of Atlas-Agena missions carried the Agena target vehicle into orbit, where they practiced rendezvous and docking procedures in preparation for the moon missions.
The basic Atlas rocket remains the same as in Horizon's other releases, with the body in halves and various fixtures and plumbing around the lower area. New here is the Agena upper stage, which can be cut to model the ATDA, known as the angry alligator, because the shroud failed to separate in orbit.
Microscale decals provide markings for that mission, as well as any of the 6 target vehicle launches.
Horizon's rockets build well, and this will make a neat addition to any collection of NASA equipment.
Yeah, you could really take off with it. Here are a couple of books that caught our eyes.
From MMP Books Green Series, here's a book about the Challenger 1. With an eye to modelers, the 200-page softcover traces the Challenger from development through deployment with the British Army, in Desert Storm, Bosnia and Kosovo, and in Jordanian service. Along the way are interesting and informative photos, including a sense of humor in the captions, a walk-around, drawings, and profiles.
If Italian World War II fighters are your thing, check out Aeronautica Macchi Fighters. This stunning 288-page hardcover details the development and deployment of the C-200 Seita, the C-202 Folgore, and the C-205 Veltro, with photos and drawings. There's a whole chapter on camouflage and markings, and photos of surviving airframes.
That last book would be great for building our next kit.
From Italeri, here's a reissue of its 1/48 scale Macchi C200.
Most of the kit is unchanged since FSM reviewed it in 2011, with recessed panel lines, a decent engine that can be seen if the optional inspection hatch is posed open, and a pretty cockpit, posable flaps, an elevator, and weighted tires. There are photo-etched metal details for the seat, instrument panel, and gear bay.
Cartograph decals supply 6 marking options. A 363rd Squadron Regia Aeronautica plane in Libya in April 1942, a 356th Squadron fighter in Ukraine in 1942, a 90th Squadron bird at Gela, Sicily in November 1941, a 384th Squadron fighter at Castelvetrano, Sicily in May 1943, another plane from the 356th in Ukraine, and a fighter from the Italian co-belligerent Air Force 93rd Squadron in October 1943.
Italeri does great work with Italian subjects, and this is no exception.
Look for reviews of the Midway and Corvette at FineScale.com.
And while you're there, check out other great how-to articles, snapshots, and videos.
Check it out.
FineScale Modeler Weekly is brought to you by Hobby Zone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find hobby tools, and aftermarket modeling needs.
As Kendra says, it's Tim and his tools. Welcome back, guys. I'm glad to be here. I want to talk to you about a new tool that we received a couple of months back, but we decided that we were going to hang on to it. We're hang on to it so we could talk to you directly about it. Now, how many of us have pliers that have a little bit of a spring in there so that they automatically open up? I do, obviously. And I like these because they're straight on the sides and on the nose, and I use these a lot of times for bending photo etch metal. But they're also nice to be able to hold something and then place it and then let go, and it'll stay where I have put it. That's a nice feature with these. It's a feature that I don't have with these, and the reason that I have these is because, well, they've got really fine needle nose tip on here. And as you can tell, you've seen this. I've used this for annealing photo etch metal. You've seen that in other videos. But anyway, I really like the finesse that these pliers have. They don't have the spring, which is fine, but I still do like them, and I get quite a bit of use out of them. And where, tools like these can't be used, obviously we use tweezers. Now, we've talked about tweezers in the past. Just a quick review. We want tweezers to be easily manipulated, right? They are basically a thumb activated lever, so you just want it to be able to close nice and easily, and we want a fine tip up here that's going to be able to hold small parts. Well, Xuron got thinking about this, and well, what if we combined this spring action with something that has a narrow tip on it and can do the things that tweezers do with small parts, and they came up with their holding pliers. Now, I'm going to move these guys off to the side here and just leave the tweezers out here for a second. The idea behind the holding pliers is this, that you are using your entire hand to control the tip, instead of just either like this or maybe like this. You'll use the tweezers. So you can see right here, this is the spring action that this tool uses. So nice and smooth, just one part. Typical Xuron design, very elegant, nicely done. Now, what attracted me to this tool when it arrived was, like many of you, I do a lot of work with small parts. And rigging in particular. I'm thinking, as I'm looking at this, I'm going, oh, well, this tool might actually solve one of my persistent rigging problems, and that is, as many tweezers as I have, as many pliers as I have, I work with fine rigging, and it often slips out of the jaws of my tweezers. And I thought, you know what, this tool might actually solve that problem. So let's see how it works with some really fine rigging from Ushi van der Rosten. So here you can see we have some rigging. Now I'll just show you the spool. There's the spool. And, okay, well, let's go ahead and just pick that up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bit of a tug. I like that. That's staying in there. That's not slipping. That actually makes me really happy. Okay, just that being able to do that, put that kind of tension on there, and I'm not squeezing very hard. What I like about that is that I'm going to be able to get this tip into some tight spaces, just like I would with this. Now, of course, you're looking at a very different sort of profile, right? From your tweezers to this. It definitely, this widens out. But what I would hope is that I would have the forethought to do my building in such a way that I'm not having to really reach in super deep into a model to do the placement. Or at least maybe I can turn it around to get at it. If not, then I can always go back to a more generic set of tweezers. But this, I'm really liking that ability. The other thing is, well, you've been seeing me. I've been holding this now for quite a while, and I'm not shaking. And that's something that I think we all can sympathize with across the board, is that if you're holding tweezers for a while, especially if you're in a tight spot and you're holding tweezers, you can start to get fatigued, right? Your hand starts to shake. You need to find a way to rest it. I really like that. I like the ability to be able to use my whole hand on that, and it just closes down. That's pretty nice. So I like that. Something else that I thought about these, and that is they are reasonably square up here at the tip. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? These would probably work pretty well for bending that super small photo etch part that you're having trouble getting into shape. Let's give that a shot. So let's see how badly I can mangle this super tiny little piece of photo etch metal. It's gonna turn into kind of a box looking thing, but it is, as you can see, very little. But you can also see where it can be bent. So let's, whoa! Let's help me pick it up. Look at that. So we can line it up with where it's supposed to be bent. And then let's see if it'll just do that for us. Oh, that's pretty sweet. I like that. Turn it around here. You get a good shot of my clunky fingers. But again, line it up on the line. Look at that. Pretty nice. Now, this particular part bends back like this. Nice. And because that point is so narrow, just a little bit of adjustment so that it's along the edge. Look at that little guy. I don't think I would have wanted to try to do that with regular tweezers. Kind of cool. You know my philosophy about tools, and that is tools are there to make your life easier. Do you absolutely need Xuron's holding pliers? And you know, Aaron and I were talking, and he said, well, they combine tweezers and pliers, so they should be called pleasers. I'm not so sure about that, and I'm not sure Xuron's going to be knocking down his door for marketing ideas, but the holding pliers, do you need them? Not necessarily. I mean, I've got the tools to do what I just showed you already at my workbench, but what's nice is that these feel good in my hand. The action is very pleasing, and they are extremely functional. And for about 20 bucks, you know what? I'd be happy to add this to my rack of tools.
Do you like what you see here and want more? Subscribe to FineScale Modeler magazine. You'll get 6 issues a year crammed with how-to stories from some of the best modelers around the world. Go to finescale.com/YouTube for a special offer for YouTube viewers like you.
All the way back in March, we were thinking about you guys. You may not know or care that we were thinking about you, but we were. We went to
Mad City. The Mad City show in Madison, Wisconsin.
Right, the Mad City show in Madison, Wisconsin, put on by the
Mad City Modelers Club, IPMS chapter.
In Madison, Wisconsin.
Which is also where, that's the same club that will be hosting the Nationals in July.
In July. Coming up here real quick. I wasn't able to go to this show, but Kendra and Aaron did go, and while there, they shot a bunch of video of the models on the tables, and I think that's what we're going to show, because you guys have been asking for show footage. It's like, what have you guys been seeing out there? Well, this is a show from a pretty big show from back in March, so enjoy.
Well, those were some good-looking models. If you want to see more, you can go to our gallery from the show at the link in the description. We have a bunch of other show galleries there, lots of great models to look at, and I believe we have more videos coming up, right?
We have a lot more videos because, again, we've been thinking about you, and you guys have been saying, hey, where are the FSM Weeklies, the FSMWs as we call them around here. And, I mean, we didn't stop shooting every week. We were doing scale model basics, so we were there just because you guys weren't always watching those.
Okay, Tim, you're sounding a little needy.
No, I was just, people were asking and we were always there. It's just, you know, whatever. Anyway.
And we're back.
And we're back with the FSMWs, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
But we're also happy to be back.
Yes, we are.
All right?
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
With sport supercar style. Be excited. It's a Corvette. I'm just trying to be enthusiastic.
My vampire complexion.
That's why she's not showing up on video.
Oh no. Priuses are Priuses.
Front drunk.
I would hope not. Which sandwich should I take out?
The C8's Z51 L2. Oh.
Is this the VIN number of this stupid car?
Before we get to Tim and his tools.
I think people want it to be tool time with Tim.
We'll use the tweezers. Does anybody, do any of you like use tweezers like this? I don't. I don't think I've used tweezers like that before. Anyway, what do you mean this was me?
I'm sure it was you.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That was not me.
It was conversational.
Confrontational.